heading towards this weekend. It's Thursday, the 15th of June, and we're just halfway down the month that is taking us effectively to the end of the second quarter and the first half of the year. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I am Bosin Namafaya. Look at the markets. Of course, you all know the Nigerian story already. The flotation of exchange trading at the investors and exporters window yesterday announced by the financial regulator. The central bank saw the Naira down about 20% against the US dollar at the window. Intra-day as high as 755, finishing around 664 on the dollar as Nigeria begin to have a new policy around FX management moving forward. There's still early days, as it were. The free float Nigeria is looking for is going to be managed, it's going to be free float. What is it really going to look like in full effect? We're trying to digest that. But the stock market seems to be in tune with what the new president, Bola Tinubu, is doing so far. Bloomberg, Next Africa, calls it a rebooting of Nigeria. This is part of what the house cleaning and a change in monetary policy direction that the new president promised in his inaugural address on May the 29th. So the stock market, after doing 4% on Tuesday, came back yesterday with about 3.13%, added almost 1 trillion naira. The banking sector were red hot, 20%. The insurance stocks also went up roughly 5%. And of course, you've seen the oil and gas also rallied very strongly. The banking sector, including MTN shares, were among the most actively traded on Wednesday. Let's see what Thursday brings to the table. Next door in Côte d'Ivoire, the BRVN was up by roughly 0.25%. The Egyptian stock market was up by just 4 basis points as we saw Egypt's latest inflation just a few days ago, and the President El-Sisi complaining about the pains of currency devaluation of the Egyptian pound in the North Africa's economy. That's something Nigerians need to listen to very closely. The Nairobi stock market down by 0.3%, while the JSE went up by the same margin, 78,060 on the all share index. Let's touch base very quickly with East Africa and look at the top stories coming through from some of the biggest economies. The East African community's budget to rise about $104 million for the 2023-2024 period. And also good news for Kenyan tea exporters because the ongoing civil war next door in Sudan, in the Sahel, is impacting tea exports from Kenya by about 26%, and that's no good news at all. Tea export is one of Kenya's economic mainstay for the agriculture sector as far as FX revenue. In the meantime, Air France has launched a direct flight to Dar es Salaam in Tanzania and will say happy landing. And the DRC is looking to inaugurate the Congo's gold refinery in next month in July. Nigeria tried to set up around refineries for gold just about a year or so ago. But let's see how this go as far as DR Congo is concerned. We'll bring everyone up to speed. Let's step on quickly into West Africa. In Nigeria, quite a bit of big stories coming out of Nigeria and as well as Ghana. Of course, you know Nigeria's story already about the FX policy pronouncement by the central bank scrapping the subsidy, or what you call the incentive of Naira dollar remittances yesterday in a very lengthy announcement that was this late Wednesday by the financial regulator. The RT200 program, which was also as an incentive for export remittances back home, which was put in place by Godwin Emefiele, the immediate past governor of the central bank, has also been thrown out of the window. So now the FX market is a free for all, as it were. Banks were allowed to trade freely at the investors and exporters window with a margin of 1 naira between buy and sell. All orders will have to go two-way codes, letting have a transparency, and let's see more inflows of that FX into the Nigerian economy. It's early days yet, but everyone seemed to be really, really happy with the new direction. And yesterday, the Nigerian Exchange Limited held a webinar that had nearly 400 participants from around Africa and around the world on the Africa Exchange Link project, which is the brainchild of the African Securities and Exchange, African Securities and Exchanges Association, ASEA, which is headquartered at the Nairobi Securities Exchange in Kenya. The ASEA's president, who is also the managing director of the Botswana Stock Exchange, talks about the membership of the World Federation of Exchanges by Namibia and his own exchange in Botswana. And he spoke about the second phase of the AELP project, which currently connects 7 exchanges on the continent with a total market value of about $1.5 trillion US dollars. The Central Bank of Nigeria is suspended, according to news yesterday from the Pan-African Payment Settlement System, to brief the Nigerian banking system and the entire market on how to get Nigerians on board the AELP project. We're expecting the central bank to make this announcement, as been indicated. Ghana's inflation traded higher slightly yesterday. So Bloomberg is saying that the Bank of Ghana, which is the central bank, is likely to raise interest rate at its next MPC meeting. That's next month. Just a couple of weeks more, we'll hear from Mr. Addison, the governor of the central bank. And Cameroon and Gabon says they've launched a bond of about 300 billion CFA franc on the BVMAC. The BIV mark is the regional French-speaking Central African Exchange or Securities Exchange, which floats both bonds, equities, and other form of securities for those few countries within the Central African Republic, the DRC, Congo, Cameroon, and the Republic of Congo, by the way. And the Cameroon courts has asked all banks to send all MTN funds, to transfer all MTN Cameroon's fund into an escrow account. It's been a problem that MTN in Cameroon has with one of the country's billionaire businessman, and this involved a few banks. MTN has challenged that it's not part of that problem, but the court yesterday says no. MTN Cameroon has to see his funds transferred into an escrow account by all commercial banks in Cameroon. It's a development that we're watching very closely, by the way. A statement from MTN headquarters in South Africa yesterday says MTN rejects this position, is not happy with that decision of the Supreme Court, and that it has no part of the problem, as it were. In the meantime, the BADA says it's approving 9 social impact projects for $577 million across Africa, and that's within more of West Africa as far as the Development Bank is concerned. So let's look at Southern Africa, with Prosus issuing a profit warning on Tuesday regarding its financial statements, which will, for the period ending March 2023, is a profit warning that the core headline earnings per share could see a downside of between 20 to 28%. In the meantime, South Africa's middle class have dumped DSTV in the manner of speaking, because the multi-choice, which is in South Africa, saw about 100,000 decline in subscribers base because interest rates are high, as well as load shedding from Eskom. It's not really pretty good time, as it were, for DSTV or multi-choice in South Africa. It's also raised the premium charges on this premium bouquet, and a couple of folks are just snobbing that and pushing it aside in the manner of speaking. Spar, which is of course one of the largest supermarkets and chain stores in South Africa, has grabbed an interim shareholders because it's battling high cost of doing business, high interest rates, as well as IT problems, spending hundreds of millions of rand in providing diesel for generators because of Eskom's power problems. In Zimbabwe, Zimplus says it's commissioned $133 million new plant, while Impala Platinum's Zimbabwe unit is looking at expansion into lithium. That is part of the mining resource news out of Zimbabwe. Let's take it all to the North African part of the continent, the region. President El-Sisi has spoken about it earlier. He's complaining about the pains of devaluation of the Egyptian currency. In Tunisia, however, Carthage Cement is reporting about 13.14% profits jump in its full year for the 2022 reporting period, while Fitch Ratings lowers the country's long-term RDR from CCC plus to CCC minus, despite all that Tunisia is doing to get its economic and political environment right, with support being promised from Spain, from Italy, from European leaders who says they're making a visit to Tunisia anytime soon. Fitch Ratings gave the countries a haircut on Tuesday. The World Bank has okayed about $350 million to boost Morocco's social protection program for the country, while a trucking marketplace, which is Trailer, says it's raised $3.5 million US dollars from Avance Capital of Egypt. And finally, Libya have signed an MOU on energy transition with Italian energy giant Eni. And those are your business, markets, economic, and investment headlines as we speak today, Thursday, the 15th of June. I am Wilson Omafai. I'll see you again. Watch this show online on FrontierAfricaReports.com. Subscribe. It's free on our YouTube, and follow us across all social media platforms. I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Have a great day.